Hello viewers, Flash Motorsport here and welcome to Magello. It's been a while since this track has been up and I've been waiting for the cycle to go around so I can get on it at a time that's convenient for me at the same time. So as we start, we did qualify, we got P5, which is not too bad considering it's been, what, a good few weeks since I've been on this track, I think. Yeah. Anyway, looking at your left hand side for the 100 board, a braking and down to third gear. Rub that in the curb and not get slapped around like I just did. I'm calling this new syndrome the apex syndrome. Now by this I mean is if you are on the inside of a corner, the person on the outside of the corner has to hit that apex. Whether you're there or not, for some reason they either believe you're Casper the Ghost or you're not there and you're somehow an illusion in their mind. No idea why, but I'm calling it the apex syndrome. Anyway, coming down here, looking at the left hand side, braking at the crane, over the curb. As soon as you cross this white line here, brake, down to third gear, let the car coast around, and as soon as the pit entrance opens up, that is the place to power on. You can power on a little bit earlier, providing you don't understeer off the track, but that's roughly the ballpark area you want to start powering on. As you come down here, looking out on your left hand side, try and keep towards the left hand side line. Braking at the 100 board, down to third gear and bring it over to the right. As soon as you're halfway around this curve, power back on and bring it round to the left hand side of the track. Come back to your right hand side in third gear over this curb, power back on a bit more, let off over the sausages and the curb again and bring it over to the outside line. You got quite a lot of track limit, but just don't go into that into that gravel pack. As again, we're in fourth gear now. I'm doing this to reduce a bit of understeer and try and keep up with the flow. As you see right now, I can't overtake, so there's no point in maximizing my power if I can just float along with them and basically save my tyres, because coming to the end of the race, we're not having a tyre change. My tyres are going to be shot, so I'd rather save tyres whilst I can. Now we're going to overtake Jekka and keep up with the MG and the other Audi to my right hand side. I get squeezed, like I'm not there. For some reason they don't move over or back out. I miss my braking point and come in a little bit hot. MG dives in whilst other people's on the inside and gets pretty much punted to a point off track, but kept hold of it. So now it's just these two to overtake. Speaking on overtake, we're coming up to the end of lap 4 and Jekka 2639604 doesn't have the best exit out of the final turn. It's my opportunity to take over and try and catch up to the Wang 6955. Looking at left hand side again for the 100 meter board, braking down to third gear, and the Audi, well, I presumed they were going to do a dive bomb on me or something like that. It didn't turn out. They went to the right. There's a car to the right and went facing the wrong way. I mean, in the right direction, but maybe a bit too much of an angle. Skipping ahead to the end of lap 6, we catch up to the Wang and have a reasonable gap from the cars behind, about 1 second. It was not too bad going, really. I did manage to get myself a penalty. That is on the second corner. I went over a bit too much on the left hand side and cut the corner. We make a move on the Wang and manage to gain a position. Now, as you can see, all of us fighting, we are quite far away from P1 and P3. Obviously P2 is in between there somewhere, but I keep tight and power on as soon as I can. But the great thing about having this outside line, you have the inside line of this corner here. This is the one I cut a bit too much. Again, the apex syndrome kicks in. Luckily I don't get pitted, so I managed to keep the car under control and actually keep the position. I don't know what happened there. I think they went and thought there was a lawnmower. Anyway, coming through here, fourth gear, the tyres are wearing thin. It's more of a case of taking my time now, as well as keeping in front of them. I think my tyres are probably a little bit better off than theirs, because I am being a bit more cautious, but also still managing to gain in time. As you can see, the car in front is 2.8 seconds ahead with a 2.25 second penalty. And I would like to get involved with that and try and bring this time down I've got. But within the laps are only about a minute long, so it's going to be really hard to find that kind of time. You see my front near side tyre has minor tyre wear, just popped up. So it's more, oh, both of them are gone now. So like I say, we've got to be a bit more careful. The car's going to be a bit slippier, and the braking points are going to be a bit earlier than they were previously. Coasting it over the curbs, trying to maximize the turn and keep as much power on as I can. Well, not power on, keep as much speed as I can through the turns as well. Final corner coming up, we're 3 seconds away. Only a miracle can solve this problem, and I don't think a miracle is going to happen right now, but I'm more than happy to be on the podium. P3, I gained 2 positions. I started off at P5, lost 2, gained 4. Can't grumble at that. And on to the next race. We're at the sunny side up of Watkins Glen, one of my favourite tracks, this one. We have qualified, we managed to gain P3. Now it's just more of a case of managing to hold P3, because P4, while demoored, their time was quite close to mine. So I don't really fancy the baton around competition, so I want to try and maximise out of this corner as much as I can, get down this back straight and try and get away from the cars behind. You see we're rubbing very close to P2. That's quite nice. I do manage to get my nose cut off nearly there. But if we're all powering down here, running in a bit of slipstream with each other, sounds like a winner to me, because we're pulling away from the pack behind. Looking out for the ambulance left hand side, breaking it down to 4th gear. Who do you think is at fault for that little bit of a collision there? Do you reckon it's a racing incident, my fault, or the other player's fault? Either way, I got a warning for that, lucky enough, and I managed to come out of the other end unscathed. Incidents happen like that, especially on that little narrow bit there. I mean, I could have backed out, or they could have backed out as well. I think it's just one of those where one of us thought the other one was going to back out and none of us did. It's quite funny really, but like I say, it doesn't matter because none of us come off worse. You know, I haven't been punted down 15 cars down the position board, and they haven't also gone into a tyre war. So in reality we've all managed to keep our positions, bar 2 seconds, but if I work myself hard enough, I'm pretty sure I can get those 2 seconds back. Touch wood, touch every bit of wood I can. Lap 4, I do manage to catch them up and create quite a large gap from the car behind. 3.2 seconds from the car, 3.3 now from the car behind, and 0.6 seconds from the pack in front. Now these two here are very quick through this inner loop. They carry a lot of speed and they control it really well. So in other words, it means I can try and carry a bit more speed through this inner loop as well. Coming up onto the outer loop, looking out for your right hand side for the hut, then powering back on. So going down to the back straight here, tuck in behind these two here, try and get a bit of slipstream and close that gap a little bit more. Looking out for the right hand side, 200 board, braking down to 4th gear, clip the inner apex and power back on. Come over to your left hand side, down to 4th gear, brake a little bit and power back on again. I think you could do that about 95 miles an hour, 97 miles per hour. I took it a bit more cautiously. It's a sort of weaker spot for me on that corner. I never seem to manage to get it just right. Braking at the 200 board, down to 4th gear and power back on. And again, trying to keep up within the slipstream of these two. Now, the great thing about this, they're going to start battling. Or so I thought to an extent. I think these two are teammates. I'm not 100% sure, but to be fair, they're very clean. Very clean racers. And HIR Blurry is very quick through the outer loop. Very quick. You see what I mean about the speed they carry through. And they slide it just lovely. But there's no way they can get this kind of look every single time. So they definitely mastered that inner loop bit. But as you can see, Blurry is very quick on the outer loop. So they have that Audi and everything set up extremely well. Anyway, looking up for the 200 board, braking down to 4th gear, power back on, swing it over to the right and then back over to the left hand side, into 5th and then back down to 4th. Don't go up that grass bank like I did, it absolutely kills your speed and your exit of the corner. Coming down over the start finish line, we are on our final lap. Braking at the 200 board, down to third gear, power back on. It's up to you whether third or fourth gear. It depends on the speed you manage to carry, and sometimes it's beneficial to have that little bit more acceleration in third gear and then going back up to fourth, or to stabilize the vehicle. Or sometimes it's better to leave it in fourth gear and coast it. It's what works for you really on that corner there. I alternate between third and fourth dependent. You see I'm carrying a ton of speed down here, braking at the ambulance, fourth gear, and powering back on. Now I wonder what the track limits are there for, because they really do abuse the track limits, so they don't get a penalty for it, so they've obviously mastered that as well. But as we're coming down the back straight now, 0.6 seconds ahead, I think we're settled into our position of again a P3, again a podium. This is going well. I think there's a possibility I might be getting better. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm improving. And if you find anything I can improve on further, let me know in the comments as well. Anyway, cross over the line, a P3, podium finish, love it. Last race, Hakone in the wet. Now, I understand there's rain and physics and things like that, but this track on wet tyres is like an ice skating rink. It's so comical. I didn't bother qualifying because in my practice laps I couldn't really gain a position where I was up in front. I was more getting mid-pack, and I don't want to start in that and be involved in all that in front of us here. So start at the back of the pack, it's safer. Unless you're at the front or right at the front in a podium start in a qualifying match, don't bother starting anywhere in the middle. It is a meat for the werewolves. Even at turn 3, there's still more carnage going off, and I managed to get myself involved in it, but luckily enough I don't get a penalty for it. This pony is mine, or the pony is mine, in the Mercedes. I managed to overtake. The MG is quicker in a straight line, but the problem is down here. As we come over here, you got to let off. Well, I had to let off for these two corners here, because being following someone with the slipstream, as well as it being wet, the understeer is incredible. Honestly, it's like riding on an ice skating rink. It is in a world of its own. Anyway, we are doing quite well. We're in P13 now, going to be in P12. That's the first lap contended with, and we survived. Coming up to the next corner here, braking point is now. It's about a second after the curb on the left hand side starts, about second and a half after. That's the way I managed to judge it now. As soon as the billboard on the left hand side disappears, power back on for this outer corner here and come over to the right hand side. Braking at the 50 board, or 75-50 board in the wet, and down the third gear, let it coast over to the left hand side. I go a little bit hot in and clip the Audi on the right hand side. Sorry buddy, but understeer took over on that one. We managed to gain 2 positions. We overtake the Ford Focus and the Audi. We're now in P9. And so what I mean, come over this curb on the left hand side, I let off and power back on just to get the nose down a little bit. And sometimes it might also help just to have a little dab on the brakes, just to get the nose of the car down. And as I come through here, I'm not constantly on the brakes. I'm dabbing the brakes, putting them on, then letting them off gently, putting them on, letting them off gently, just to keep the weight of the vehicle on the front and helping me rotate the car around. Skipping ahead to lap 4, we managed to catch up to the pack of cars in front. A few people's got penalties up ahead as well. And I think the weather is slightly clearing up. I see a bit of shine coming through. Either that was all the stage lights. But we are making gains on the cars in front. We have a Golf in front of us, Hungry Slam. Looking out for the right side, I'm braking at the 75-50 board, let it coast round, dab the brakes a little bit, get the nose down, and Hungry Sam goes well off track. That's our moment to shine. The MG is much quicker than the VW in a straight line. So coming down this little bit here, like I say, it's a case of letting off the throttle as soon as you're turning, get the weight onto the front wheels again, and the powering back on. Coming down here, as soon as the curb starts going white on the left hand side, I dab on the brakes and just keep tabbing the brakes. The Golf did make up quite a bit of time behind me there, but you see they're understeering far more than I am. Coming up to the start of our final lap, the weather has cleared up, and you've got to be mindful of this. Some parts of the tracks are going to be drier than others, which means your tyres overheat. Tyres are quite worn, you can hear them scrubbing a bit, and the last thing you want is to really wreck the wet tyres, because when they're wrecked on a dry track or dryish track, you're better off with like wheelbarrows for wheels on tyres. They're absolutely horrendous. It's like sticking McDonald's trays under your wheels. If you've done that, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't done that, ask the people that's done it. But as we come down here, we managed to keep it flat out really. The track is drying up and I've still got a little bit of tyre grip left. I'm trying to catch up to the cars in front. They have a penalty and I want to capitalise on that penalty. So right now I'm in P8, the two cars in front. The car in front has a 1.2 second penalty. So we're 0.6 seconds behind. Just had a tyre warnings come on. Perfect timing for that. Absolutely perfect. As we cross the start and finish line, we are finishing in P7. Smashing. Gained 13 places overall on a wet track. That is good going. If you haven't made it this far into the video, thank you very much. I'm going to give you a little spoiler. I have been racing in another game, still touring cars, but the British Touring Car Series of the 90s. This will be coming out on Wednesday, and here's a first look of it. I am playing Assetto Corsa with Low Fuel Motorsport and the VRC mod. You are able to drive the 90s BTCC cars. Absolutely brilliant. They drive incredible, they sound incredible. I'll show you off my first lap how it goes. So as we're starting, 10 seconds to the starting line, engine going. As you can see, there are modifications to my screen. I am using the Gran Turismo HUD. I did have the Assetto Corsa Competizione HUD, but I broke it. And I don't know how to get it back. I've tried everywhere. I can't get the clock at the top left. I just broke it. So I used the Gran Turismo HUD along with the Assetto Corsa accelerator and brake symbols on left and side, because I have been driving a lot of the white cars and you can't see the accelerator and brake on a white bonnet. But you do get to see the speed on the gear I'm in. I've also got the radar, as well as a radar at the top of the screen in the middle and a map to the right hand side. So I have 2 points of visual contact as well as a rear view mirror, so 3 points of visual contact to be able to see who's around me. Absolutely love it. I can't see why Forza can't implement something like this, but there we go. Also, you may notice on my tyres, yes, they are correct, I'm using soft tyres, but there is a colour coding on the outside layer of the tyres. The red on the top left tyre, or the near side front tyre, was red. Now they're going to have a highlight of blue. It tells you the tyre temperature. It does wear like they normally do, but like I say, these cars don't have ABS, so if you lock up your wheels, it's pretty detrimental to your lap, as well as understeering a little bit. You don't seem to get the understeers you do in Forza. Like I say, the cars seem to drive so much better on here. They have what I would say far more realistic grip and realistic driving characteristics. Other than that, you do see on the left hand board as well, so on the bottom left of the screen in the box, you've got the left bar, left blue bar, that is my clutch. The red one's my brake. Try not to go between too much past 70%, that's when you lock up. But also bearing in mind, if you're at 70% and you hold it at 70%, your brakes will warm up, which means they increase the brake and friction, which also will increase the chance of locking up. So it's a case of really applying the brake and then letting it off and trying. Really, it's so good. It's really good. Accelerator is the green one, and force feedback is the grey bar going up and down. Everything on the radar screen also works like it would do in GT7, so I have gone along and adjusted my brake bias, where at the moment it was right on the front wheels, but I've moved it to be a little bit more central. I noticed that quite a lot of the back end of the Mondeo was sliding out, pretty much like the BTCC used to. The back end was very unforgiving, is the best way of putting it, a bit like that Renault right now. You may also notice something really annoying on the screen which says cut warnings. You can't move that. That is permanently there. I've tried moving it. I couldn't seem to figure it out. I can't move it. Like I say, I'm still very new to this, so the choice of the cars, I get to pick the choice of car, but I can't see how I can change the colour. Obviously the standard BTCC colours, but you are randomly given one. I can't seem to figure out how to change it. And the cut warning symbols there is how many times you cut the track. Another great factor I'd like to point out is the report system. Now, as well, you know, Forza can be a little bit hit and miss with the drivers, but within this system here via Low Fuel Motorsport, if you or anybody else encounters shenanigans on the track, whether it be rammer, bad driving, accidents, things like that, there is a report system that you can report or be reported, and it is sent to the marshals, and the marshals dictate the severity of if there is any punishment. Also, if you encounter a rammer, you can report them as well, and that person will get penalised for whatever the stewards see fit, whether that be a disqualification for a set of races or disqualification for a longer period of time. It's down to the stewards. It's brilliant that there's someone in the background, or well, a group of people, obviously it won't be one person, but monitoring the situation and taking action. Absolutely brilliant. Also, you start at the bottom of the pack, so you start off with a rookie driving license, which is what I have, as well as a very low safety rating, and it's a case of building it up. The better you are, the better license you have, as well as a better safety rating. On top of all of that, the lap times that you commit to are monitored, so you are put then into servers that with people that were roughly within your lap time, so you're not playing against someone with P1 and P2 that are off in a distance long gone, or you're the one in the distance long gone. The servers are very balanced. So yeah, that was just a taster, and I'll be releasing this video of Brands Hatch GP circuit very soon. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and thank you all for watching.